Good afternoon. My name is Max Parker. I'm Vice President of the Board of Trustees for the San Angelo Independent School District. Our President, Lanny Lehman, is, I don't know, he may be out of state, may be out of the country right now, but he's not here, and I'll be sitting in for him. I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting of the San Angelo ISD Board of Trustees. Let me just read a little script that we always do to kind of tell you how we're going to conduct things tonight. As Vice President of the Board of Trustees of the San Angelo Independent School District, as I said, I welcome you to tonight's meeting. This is our regular board meeting. I also welcome all of you who are watching this meeting on our public access channel, Channel 4. And we appreciate your interest in our students. All items that we are discussing at our meeting this evening have been posted as required by state law. Also, as you may be aware, our board meets a minimum of 2 times per month, and most, if not all, of the items on our agenda this evening have been previously discussed at our earlier pre-agenda board meeting workshop. As members of the SAISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from our superintendent and administration, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and to make policy for the district. Please keep in mind that our meeting is a meeting of the Board of Trustees held in public and not a meeting of the public. However, with that in mind, we have an item on every one of our meeting agendas that allows anyone present who wishes to speak to our board an opportunity to do so. I will make certain that we give everyone an opportunity to speak on any item not listed on our agenda. Additionally, prior to taking any votes, I will ask audience members if they would like to make any comments. Anyone wishing to make comments on any agenda item should do their best to limit their comments to 3 minutes. In compliance with state law, these proceedings are recorded and will become a part of SAISD's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflect the proceedings, I ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. I also ask, as I remind myself and my fellow board members, to please turn off or silence your cell phones. If you are speaking on public comment on something that's not on our agenda, please understand, because it's not on the agenda, we cannot reply except to thank you for your comments. Again, it's my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's meeting, and thank you for taking time to join us this evening. We appreciate your interest in the activities of our students and the business of our district. I would like to just make note that we do have a quorum. Mr. Hernandez is also not here, but the rest of our board team is here, and I appreciate all the board team being here. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Richard Evans, pastor of Lakeview Bible Church, to give our invocation.
If you would, please join me in bowing your heads as I pray. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to serve the business of this school system, and Father, we ask that you guide those who make those decisions, that they may make them on the principles of your word in your decisions. Father, let the school be blessed as it moves forward. Lord, I pray over the children who serve in the school, who go to the school, and who participate in the school. Father, over the teachers who work daily to see that those children get an education. Father, I pray over those who serve on this board, that they may be guided by your word and your understanding of what's best for children. Father, guide this meeting, grant us your grace, and forgive us our shortcomings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you for being here, Dr. Evans. At this time, I'm going to call some of our bottom elementary students to come forward and lead us in our pledge. Abel Martinez, who's a kindergarten student. Brianna Kasich, first grade student. Macy Watson, third grade student. And Michael Harris, fifth grade student. Would all of you come up, please? And let's all stand. Parents, you can come up and take photos. I've asked the students to stay until you get your photos. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you being here. This time I'm going to ask Whitney Wood and Molly Turk to come forward as we have recognition of our military students and appreciation to the men and women of Goodfellow Air Force Base.
Thank you, and good evening, Mr. Parker, Dr. Deathlaw, and distinguished members of the board. Our first recognition of the evening is one near and dear to the hearts of many of our SAISD families. As you know, here in San Angelo, we are blessed to have Goodfellow Air Force Base. Strong military families call our community home and add so much to our West Texas community and SAISD schools. Today, as part of Month of the Military Child, we honor and recognize the commitment and sacrifice of our military's youngest heroes in supporting the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, their children. In our district, we have 778 military-connected children. Command Chief Master Sergeant Boomershine noted that our servicemen and women's children serve right along with them, making sacrifices to oftentimes experiencing being the new kid in school or missing a deployed parent. Today and all of this month, we take special attention to honor and celebrate these children. This month, SAISD has been working to make an extra effort to lift up our military families and salute the unique contribution and resilience of our military children. We kicked it off with a special salute from General Hawkins on our Facebook page that we will share here shortly. Campuses participated in Spirit Week last week, including Purple Up for Military Children Day last Thursday. And we even had some special read-alouds featuring Colonel Lauren Bird and her daughter Emerson, who is a student at Glenmore Elementary, and former SAISD substitute and retired First Sergeant Gomez at Austin Elementary. As part of this recognition, we also acknowledge with gratitude the special role of our Goodfellow Air Force Base Child and Youth Education Services School Liaison, Teresa Goodwin, who has partnered with us on Military Month of the Child, who assists military families in transition and our schools with student support and resources. Ms. Goodwin is here to accept the honor on behalf of our 778 military-connected students today. We wish we could have them all here, but we know current circumstances do not permit that, or even a few of them. Please join me in saluting our military-connected students and families in SAISD with applause. And now we will play the special salute from General Hawkins, too, that we shared earlier this month. And Teresa, if you can come up here to accept on behalf of our military-connected students. And we have a special guest from our Star-based program, too. I'm sorry. Didn't know Tim was going to be here until now, but. And Dr. Deathlaw, if you don't mind, if I could get you in the picture. And we're going to show the salute that we did in partnership with President of ASU, General Hawkins, who is also a military child as well, so he knows that experience personally.
I'm Ronnie Hawkins, president of Angelo State University. What you may not know is I'm a retired lieutenant general from the United States Air Force. My wife Maria, our two boys Ronnie and Joshua, along with our daughter Christine, supported me during my time in the military. I know a thing or two about the sacrifices our military families make for our country, particularly the children. My father was also in the military, and as a military brat, that is an affectionate name given to children whose parents are in the military. I was born in Anchorage, Alaska, and after 6 moves and at age 13, we moved here to San Angelo from Peshawar, Pakistan. I know a thing or two about the sacrifices our military children experience. So today, I offer my salute to our military families and especially the children of our servicemen and women as part of the month of the military child this April and all year long. I also call upon our San Angelo community to join me in the salute of appreciation, respect, and honor. The challenges and struggles unique to military life with travel, commitment, and personal sacrifice are not lost on me. We are blessed here in San Angelo to have Goodfellow Air Force Base and the fantastic military families that come to San Angelo and add so much to our West Texas community. A special shout out to the military children at San Angelo ISD. I was one of you too. We are so proud and thankful for each and every one of you. Today we celebrate you and your contribution to our schools and San Angelo. Thank you.
We certainly appreciate the reciprocal support we have with ASU and General Hawkins, and I encourage all of you to thank those military students and lift them up as our campuses have been doing all month. And now we're going to continue. Tonight we are so pleased to have more of our students to celebrate. We will now honor and recognize outstanding achievements of our San Angelo ISD high school and middle school bands and high school thespians who recently competed in UIL competitions. Before turning it over to some of our directors, I want to note that San Angelo ISD extends proud congratulations to the talented students of our SAISD middle schools in both Lakeview High School and Central High School bands and theater groups, and commend their creative teamwork in coming together to make beautiful music or to tell a story on a stage while exemplifying the attributes of the SAISD learner profile. We extend special thanks to our dedicated SAISD staff, especially these directors here with us tonight, that help develop and cultivate the talents of our students from music to acting to behind the scenes. I am going to pass it over to Ms. Tiffany Huebner, our Director of Advanced Academics and Fine Arts, for introductions.
That was a great introduction, Whitney. So there's not much more to say other than Jesse Bailey, come on up.
Hi, my name is Jesse Bailey. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a little. I'm the director of the non-varsity group over at Lakeview. And I just want to thank the board for the recognition that you guys are giving us here at the Fine Arts and welcoming us to this board meeting. I'd also like to thank Tiffany Huebner and Zach Ramirez, our principal over at Lakeview, for all the hard work that they've done for us to be able to go to this UIL. This UIL was kind of a difficult one for us. We had some trouble with some numbers. You can see we have a small group up there. It was about 28 students who went and performed on stage and in sight reading. But they did an amazing job. Their flexibility and their hard work earned them a sweepstakes, which is a 1 in both concert and sight reading. I'm so proud of all the work that these students have done. And again, thankful to my awesome team, Josh Bailey, Sarah Clark, and Victoria Gonzalez, who all helped out getting this group to where they got. That's it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Clark, and this is Victoria Gonzalez, and we're the band directors at Lincoln Middle School. Thank you so much for recognizing us this evening, and we have the best job in the world. We get to teach some amazing students over at Lincoln Middle School. I teach the honor band or direct the honor band that's mostly 8th graders, and this was, for most of them, actually all of them, the first time for them to ever go to UIL since last year we weren't able to. And they received all first divisions in concert and sight reading and received the sweepstakes award. This is the fourth time since 2015 that the Lincoln Honor Band has received that. On that note, on Saturday, our beginner band performed a solo contest, and we had 62 first division soloists, which is the most we've had in several years. We're super excited about our program and how it's just getting better and better every year. And it's special thanks to our administration of Tiffany Hubner and Mr. Gandar for all their help and support this year. And I can't go without noticing our Lakeview band staff, because they're over there every day, Josh Bailey and Jesse Bailey, and that makes all the difference. This is Victoria Gonzalez, and she's going to share with you about the symphonic band.
Hi, my name is Victoria Gonzalez. I'm the director of the symphonic band at Lincoln Middle School, and most of the students in this band are 7th grade. Now, with the events that happened last year, their beginning band was cut a little bit short, so it was a little bit of a struggle, getting into this, and this was their very first UIL. So at the contest, we received a 1-2-2 rating, which gave us the overall division of Division 2, which is categorized as excellent, which is exactly what these kids are. I mean, they're excellent in their practice and their performance, and it's such an honor to be able to teach them and go through this journey with them. And then again, thanks to Josh and Jesse Bailey over at Lakeview, and then Sarah Clark, Tiffany Hubner, Joe Gandar over at Lincoln Middle School. This is just an amazing group and an amazing school, and I'm really honored to be a part of it.
Good evening. I'm Adam Chappell. I'm the band director at Glenn Middle School, and thank you all for having us here and supporting us. This has been a tough year for all of us. I do appreciate all of your guidance. I know you guys have had some decisions to make, and extremely tough decisions and circumstances, so I really appreciate your guidance in helping us through this year. I am extremely proud of this 8th grade group of students. They have worked over many, many obstacles. When we played our pre-UIL concert, we were on the stage, and I looked down, and it was 15 months exactly from the last time we had played a concert. And it's a really special moment to be able to actually perform. Not knowing when to perform is a very tough year, especially for these students. So it has been great to be able to perform again and hear music from these wonderful students. Thank you also to our principals, all of our administrators. This year has been, we have felt very supported this year, so we are very thankful. We are very proud of these students, and again, thank you all for having us.
Good evening. My name is George Clark. I'm the head band director at Lee Middle School, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be recognized. It's really neat to get to represent these hardworking students, and for them to go to UIL and be able to accomplish what they did with the getting all ones from the judges and everything. It just goes to show, amongst all the obstacles that we have, all the hard work and effort and perseverance that goes into this, what music education helps teach the children, even amongst adversity. And so that was really neat. We thank you for your support of music education within the school district, and for us to be able to get out and perform is just such a joy. Thank Mr. Heath, my assistant, and the Mr. Jones and the high school band staff for when they come over and help. It really does help out a a lot when we all work together as a team, and that goes into a lot of our success. So we're so proud of the hard work and effort of the students, and also wanted to make sure and thank our administration there on campus, Ms. LeMaster and all the principals there. But thank you for recognizing us. I really appreciate it.
Good evening. Thank you. We want to echo what everyone has said. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you to Mr. Waters for the support that he's given to us. It's been an interesting year. We have freshmen on the campus in theater for the first time, so that was a lot of fun. As you know, we all have had interesting odds to overcome with the not just the pandemic, but also the weather we had, and the water issue came right before our district contest, so that was festive, but we got through. So the Central High School Theater produced Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead for our district contest on March 5th. And we're so proud of these students. They worked so hard. We have several freshmen on the cast and crew, which was great. Most of them are newcomers to theater. And this is the first play they've done because we didn't get to do a real production in the fall. But they really came together, and we had some students who got individual awards. James Devereaux, who is the one on the stage right, he won honorable mention all-star cast. The one in the middle won, that's Caden Martinez, he won all-star cast. And so we're very proud of them. We had 20 students who competed, and looking forward to what next year brings.
Hello, I'm Misty Seiler, and I teach theater arts and tech theater at Central High School, and I'm so grateful and blessed to be there, and just so grateful to be a part of such a wonderful district, and I just want to say thank you to everyone. We also want to recognize Romello Armstrong, who took an All-Star Tech Theater Award at the UIL competition. And now we are switching gears, and the students are currently working on our JV one-act play, Any Body for Tea. We have about 15 students taking part in that production. They'll be competing on May 15th in Odessa, and they are just having a blast bringing together. This is just a hilarious murder mystery, and they're having so much fun with it. And it's such an honor and a privilege for us to get to be a part of watching them grow and develop and assisting them in honing their craft. So thank you to everyone who has just made it possible for us to all continue to do what we love and help these kiddos grow and be successful amidst all of the trials that we've been facing. So.
I'm Heck Knutson. I'm the theater director out at Lakeview, and like everybody said, thank y'all again for this recognition and all the support we've had this year, and thank you to Mr. Ramirez and Ms. Hebner for the help that they've given and support they've given us. And like Ms. Smith said, to say that it's been an interesting year would be an understatement. For us, what's normally a 4-week, 5-week process to get the one-act play ready turned into a week and a half this year, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of kids to pull together a week and a half to take a show to contest and get something that we could put on stage and that they were proud of and did a good job with, and I couldn't have been happier with. So we did Adaptation by Elaine May, which is the story of life told as a board game. And we ended up with 2 students. Amos Garza, who's giving us the thumbs up there, was selected to the All-Star cast, and Jeremiah McCarty was on the honorable mention All-Star cast for this year. And with that group of kids, I'm looking for, because they're all underclassmen, I'm not losing anybody, so looking for good things coming in the future and hope everything continues like it has. Thank y'all.
So
wonderful to get to celebrate all of the ways our students are smart and how exceptional they truly are. If we can ask the directors to come up here, we appreciate y'all so much. Y'all truly make the difference for these kiddos, and we want to get a picture of y'all with Dr. Deathloff, please.
Y'all are so fast. Trying to get
Okay. And then finally, we would like to end recognitions on a cheerful note by recognizing some of our outstanding athletes, Central High School Bobcat cheerleaders, for their strong showing at UIL State 6A Division Competition and NCAA Nationals. At this time, I'm going to have Bobcat cheer coach Mr. Matt Eskew join us to tell you more about this awesome squad and their accomplishments this year. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how much we appreciate the hard work of our staff who help develop the talents of our student athletes. We again extend proud congratulations to our talented students whose collaborative and creative work exemplifies the attributes of the SAISD learner profile. Mr. Eskew.
Good evening. I'm close enough. Good evening, and thank you for recognizing us again. And the other thing I kind of want to say is I get the wonderful opportunity to travel around the nation presenting and also across the state presenting about cheer. And I can always say that our board and our administration is by far one of the most supportive groups of people that we've had anywhere that I've seen. So thank you all so much for that. This year, we often joke lots of times that if you don't win, then we've come up short as a program, which unfortunately is the standard we've set over the past few years. This year with COVID, this season being extended into March and all the other stuff, it was a long season. But I want to say that the kids handled it well. They did great. I couldn't be more proud of them. And kind of our lesson we took from it, it's not always about winning, but it's about what you learn from the adverse consequences as you go through tough times. So this group this year, I'm going to say what their places were, and then all y'all are going to look at me like I'm crazy, but it's okay. They were 6th at UIL in 6A Division I, so the 6th best team in all of the state of Texas. And then at Nationals, they were the runner-up by .03. So it's, it's just one of those years and one of those situations, but the kids were amazing this year, and I couldn't be more proud of them for the way they handled themselves, represented the program, and represented San Angelo ISD.
Thank you, Mr. Eskew, and we're so proud of that entire squad, and that concludes our recognitions for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney, and we thank all our instructors and administrators that have helped these students. And this is the time in the spring. Board members really enjoy this time when we get to recognize our students for their accomplishments. We didn't get to do that as much last year because many of these students weren't able to compete last year, so it's good to see them, and hopefully next year we'll be able to have the students in person as we used to have and be able to shake their hands. All right, we're going into our agenda now. We have our agenda item to approve minutes for the March 22nd, 2021 Special Finance Pre-Agenda Meeting and the March 29th, 2021 Regular Board Meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second. Have a motion to approve by Mr. Dindal and a second by Dr. Kingman. Is there any other board comment? Any public comment on this item? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The item passes. Now, this brings us to what I mentioned earlier when I started on our script. Is anybody that has public comments for topics not on the agenda on this meeting, and I've had two that have signed up. So I'll see if I can read this right. Lylene McClellan-Thee, you're my first one. Are you here, Miss Thee? Come on up. Come on up.
Thank you. My name is Lylene McClellan-Thee, and I'm a resident of San Angelo, Texas, and also a product of our school system, a proud graduate of Central High School. I won't tell you the years, but that's anyway. I want to express my concern about an article that was in the San Angelo Live, and it was about a meeting that was held at one of our middle school campuses, and it was training the faculty on the use of transgender pronouns. This is an area of concern to me for several reasons. For one thing, there are only two sexes. Regardless of what the political rhetoric is these days, there are two genders, male and female. I mean, that's down to a molecular level. There's no amount of surgeries, there's no amount of renaming that can actually change that. This meeting, I feel, though I believe it was among the faculty and not, did not involve any students, but I feel like it's setting the groundwork to actually expand that into the student realm. Now, one of my questions is this a district-wide happening, or is this confined to one or a few campuses, or if so, which campuses are involved? This is, it's a very delicate area, and I look at this as an assault on parental rights. This is something that parents need to handle with their children. This is not something that our schools need to start laying groundwork for. And also, if, as the article stated, if the curriculum that was used in this meeting, the meeting materials, was provided by GLSEN, GLSEN is well known for not including parents, for not having a problem keeping parents out of the loop in something like this. So for a family that they would call, that GLSEN would refer to as non-supportive of a child that was having transgender issues, they would actually offer materials to school personnel how to keep the parents uninformed of that. And also, if they would not have a problem involving CPS in an issue like this. I mean, as I said, it's just an assault on parental rights. Children that are actually in the realm of transgender confusion, it is still classified as a mental illness, gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria needs to be handled with compassion and with counseling. We do not need to be enabling or affirming that disorder. So those are my comments, and it is an area of great concern to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thee. As I mentioned earlier, we cannot comment on anything, on any comment that's been made on an item that's not on our agenda, but we do appreciate you coming forward with your comments. I also have Mr. Kenneth Casper is also signed up. Come forward, Mr. Casper.
Thank you for letting me address you. My subject is essentially the same as Lylan's was. The statements made by the SAISD school board members that they were blindsided by this gender identity issue is more than just a little disturbing on several fronts. You may wonder why we're suddenly questioning everything. Here are a few reasons. The board is clearly out of touch. After the debacle over the Lee Middle School renaming, to not be aware that these transgender, gender identity, cancel culture, critical race theory, equity versus equality issues brewing across the country, and to not be prepared to deal with them locally means you have had your heads in the sand, that you do not have strong opinions on the underlying mental issues which you are willing to articulate and stand up for is also very disturbing. This is only the tip of the iceberg. When we asked for a list of assigned and recommended readings for high school students, we were patronized and blown off with statements like, just the classics. And is the book being used locally? Justine by the Marquis de Sade is a classic. Is that what you had in mind? Or are you willing to be blindsided like the Leander School ISD with In the Dream House? If you're not familiar with it, you can check it out on YouTube. The truth is, we can trust you to give us honest answers to our legitimate questions. The school board apparently doesn't even know what school policy is, yet you're the ones who should be developing and enforcing it. Perhaps the correct question is, does the board even have the authority to mandate how people should be addressed? I weep for San Angelo. I weep for the good people here who know what right is, but don't have the moral courage to stand up and fight for it. Societies fall. Evil triumphs when good people do nothing, when they allow themselves to be pushed around by power-hungry minorities with agendas. That's exactly what this situation is, a Marxist-fascist power play. To the school board members, don't look for someone else for guidance on how to vote on this issue. You and you alone are responsible for your actions and your vote. If you vote for or permit this effort to go forward, you will be remembered for endorsing something that is antisocial, anti-civilization, and divisive. This insanity will burn itself out in a few years, but your position on it will be a permanent matter of record. Is that how you want to be remembered by your descendants? Make no mistake, this decision is what will label you in the years to come. Our children deserve the stability of adult moral leadership. Are you going to give it, or are you going to cave to the forces working to destroy our community and our way of life? Choose well. Lives and social stability depend upon it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Gasper. We'll now move on to our reports. I don't know whether, Mr. McFarland, I don't know whether you have a report on the student enrollment report. Usually you coming forward? You do. All right, good.
Mr. Parker, Dr. Detloff, members of the board, the attendance report is for the 27th Monday of the school year, which shows attendance and enrollment, I should say, of 13,925 total students. That would be inclusive of 2,044 who we have in our virtual learning academy. And comparatively to last year, that would be down by 532 students at this same reporting time for last year. By the way, the reports you get from here on out will always go back to that last number when we do a comparison, because we were out of school at this time last year. So we would go back to that last enrollment number that we had. Any questions I can answer?
Just one thing I noticed is that you had mentioned earlier in the year that our numbers are comparable to other school districts that have lost enrollment also. Is that still what you're hearing?
That would be pretty accurate from everything I've heard from other state school districts or school districts around the state.
And I noticed, just interesting, maybe you've mentioned this before, but when I was looking at the numbers more closely, we're down about 500, as you said, 500, my report's 511, but it's like 563 less in the elementary schools, but 113 more in the high schools. Do we know why there's less students in the elementary, or people homeschooling? Do we know that, or why is it more in the elementary schools than anywhere else?
One of the trends we've noticed within looking at the data is that we have a lower number of students in our lowest levels in early childhood education from our pre-K and our kindergarten, and mostly in that range area. More of our parents choosing to not send their kids to school this year and doing some type of homeschooling.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have questions for Dr. McMarlin? Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Ritter, do you have an update on academic progress?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Parker, Dr. Dutloff, and members of the board. This evening, we have a two-part academic report. The first part, we are going to actually, in response to some of the information that you've heard that Dr. McFarland shared with us, as we know, many of our students who we're already, as we're doing pre-registration, we're getting numbers and reports from our campuses that we have people who've been out of school contacting us and registering for school again. So that is encouraging. But we also know that with that comes a lot of our students who will be experiencing learning loss. And in a response to that, we are going to be providing summer instruction for our students. And so Shelley Huddleston, who is our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning for the district, is going to update us on our summer instruction.
Thank you, Dr. Ritter, Mr. Parker, Dr. Detloff, members of the board. I wanted to take just a few minutes to talk to you a little bit about our summer programming. We are very excited and honored to be able to truly expand our summer offerings this summer, and I wanted to be able to take a little time to tell you a little bit about that. And first of all, just to give you a little bit of our goals, our picture of success for our summer programming. One of our goals is to close learning gaps, especially from preventing summer slide, but also trying to close the gap that COVID has caused for so many of our younger children, as we've said before, many of which have chosen to stay home and learn virtually. So we know that we have some gaps that we need to close. So working with that, and then just to build reading skills. We also want to build a sense of excitement and belonging for our students who are in transition. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about some new and exciting programs we have for elementary students going to middle school and middle school students going to high school. We also know that we have to take some opportunities to assist some students who have fallen behind in their high school credits because graduation rates are a concern across the state. And we don't want that to be a concern in San Angelo ISD. So we're working hard to provide as many opportunities as we can for high school kids to get back on track, to graduate on time. And then also we want to offer just some exciting enrichment opportunities. So with that, I want to tell you first about our K-2 literacy camps. Our K-2 literacy camps will be held from June the 7th to July the 2nd. And those will be at Austin, Bradford, Crockett, and San Jacinto. The main purpose of this is to build literacy skills through reading, writing, listening, and speaking, student engagement so that we can have students build reading stamina, motivation, and independence, and then learning social emotional skills. This K-2 literacy camp will be open to all of our K-1 and 2 students, this year's K-1 and 2 students. We're going to be sending special invitations to our virtual learning students. And then for others within the district, we're going to have those parents just have a conversation with their teachers and their campus principals to see if they can benefit from the literacy camp. But we're really trying to throw the doors open and invite these young children to come and experience something that will be very fun, but beneficial to them in building their literacy skills. We also are going to have from our special programs department an extended school year opportunity. We know that many of our children who are in special education, because of times that they have been in virtual or even last year when our district was not meeting in person, some of those students may not have been able to receive all of the services that they needed. For example, maybe they need some extra minutes of speech therapy or occupational therapy. So this is a time to offer those programs to those students. All of this will be determined by the children's IEPs and the ARD committee. But we are going to offer things for our early childhood and functional academics programs. And that will be at San Jacinto Elementary. And then we will have a program at Lincoln Middle School and also our 2 high schools. So again, this is June 7th through July 2nd. And that's especially meeting needs of our students in our special programs. We will have a special summer program just for English language learners. And so we're going to hold this at Bradford Elementary. This will be open to any pre-K or kinder student who is identified as limited English proficient. So we're going to focus on individual student needs. It's going to have a heavy focus on literacy skills, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and then a focus on English language through social skills and peer interaction. And we have a really great staff who has already been hired to run this summer program at Bradford. We will, as we have for many years, offer high school credit recovery. And this is going to be a blended model. And so we will offer in-person learning and also virtual learning for our students in high school. And these programs will run in June and in July. And we started that a couple of years ago. So both the high schools will have in-person teachers who are there ready to assist students in credit recovery, but we will also have some digital support teachers who can help with online learning for our high school credit recovery. So again, those will run through the month of June and the month of July to help with credit recovery. This is something new this year that we're really excited about, and it is middle school and high school Jumpstart programs. In prior years, when 5th graders were going to go to their middle school, we would be able to load the kids up on the bus, take them to Glenn or to Lee or to Lincoln, see the school, talk about what it was like to be a middle schooler. But with COVID protocols, that wasn't able to happen this year. And instead, we think we've come up with something that's even better. And so that is that during the month of June, it's open to any 5th grade student going into middle school. They will be offered an opportunity to spend time on their feeder pattern middle school, where they're going to be able to learn a lot of things about what does it mean to be in middle school and what is this middle school experience like. And so they will have some academics because, again, we're trying to make sure that we're closing learning gaps, but also just a lot about what it means to be a middle schooler. And then we're going to do the same thing with our 8th graders who are moving into high school, into 9th grade. And so both at Central High School and at Lakeview High School, we are going to have Jumpstart into high school. So again, those incoming high schoolers are going to learn things about what it means to be a high schooler, how you get and keep high school credits, and then a focus on reading and math. So again, this is a new program for us, but we are very excited about having these Jumpstart programs to really start those transitions well for our students. And finally, we are offering some different enrichment programs, and one of those will be our San Angelo ISD STEM camp, and that will be held specifically on the dates of July 27th and 28th, and those applications will go out sometime, I believe, in May, and that's going to be held at Holloman, and again, it is an open enrollment, but it is 2nd through 5th graders, so they'll have the opportunity to explore and create, to solve problems, and really have some enrichment opportunities. And that kind of concludes some of our summer offerings. Do you have any questions?
First off, Shelley, thank you. I know y'all been working hard on trying to figure out all the summer stuff. Couple questions.
Okay.
Our kindergarten, we have 200 kids that were supposed to be kindergartners theoretically this year that didn't show up for kindergarten. If those kids register for first grade, will they be able to do our K2 summer camps?
Yes, we'll do some enrollment, and we'll reach out to those parents specifically because they'll need to go ahead and be enrolled so that they're a student who shows up on our enrollment. But yes, we want to be able to provide that, again, almost like a jumpstart opportunity for them to see what school is like.
And for our elementary kids, I just want to reiterate what I think you said. If parents are interested in this, they're reaching out to their teachers specifically about
Yes.
qualifications and
Yes.
number. Okay.
Yeah, we want to cast the net as wide as we can.
Okay. Sorry. Last question. As far as the elementary kids' lunches, are they going to provide nutrition on campuses for the summer school program?
Yes, thank you for asking that. Yes, our child nutrition department will have, all 4 of those elementary schools will be summer feeding sites, so that will be open to those children in summer school, but also there will be community sites available, so even students who are not enrolled in summer school but who live in the community and who take part in our lunch programs will be able to get a hot meal during the month of June.
Thank you.
Good. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Ritter because she has another exciting introduction to make.
Thank you, Ms. Huddleston. Great information, and we'll continue to update you on our numbers and our enrollment and find out how many of these kids we're going to be serving in our summer programs. At this time, I'd like to introduce the next part of our academic report. We have been extremely proud of Lincoln Middle School, and I know that we've been updating you throughout the last couple of years on some of the different things that we're doing at Lincoln to increase academic progress. And I just have to say we are so very, very, very proud of the teachers and the leadership on this campus, as well as the support and leadership of our curriculum and instruction team at the secondary level in helping our Lincoln Middle School professional learning community process, which is now, you're going to hear details about that and how that is really leading transformational change on a campus. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Candy Callis, who is our Director of Secondary Curriculum and Instruction, and she's joined by Mr. Joe Gondar, who is our principal at Lincoln Middle School. And so at this time, Dr. Callis is going to come forward and just start sharing some things about this great work at Lincoln. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Detloff. Thank you so much for your time. I'm very excited to share with you the presentation for this evening because, as Dr. Ritter said, it really highlights the transformational change that has taken place over the last 2 school years at Lincoln Middle School. So this is a long quote, but essentially when I was looking at what did I want to share with you, I really wanted to emphasize the fact that our teachers need differentiated leadership in order to achieve high standards and to meet their needs and be willing to change and adapt to new practices and new ideas, especially when having a new campus leadership. And sometimes that can be really challenging. So as Robin Jackson, who works with ASCD, stated, we have to really help our teachers embrace change so that they are willing and motivated to improve their practices in the classroom, because that's what truly matters. So I believe that the leaders at Lincoln Middle School, specifically Mr. Gandar and Mrs. Guerrero, the associate principal, have really shown us examples of the quote that I just showed you, providing strong leadership for our teachers so that they're willing to embrace change and improve their practices and truly be reflective practitioners and willing to grow to be the best that they can be for the students. We actually, I'm so happy to say, we're actually joined with quite a few Lincoln staff members this evening. So they're going to hate me, but I'm going to ask them to stand up. We have some teachers and then the entire leadership team. So if y'all will just stand up for 1 second, please. Let me make sure. Thank you so much. So very happy. Some of them are showcased in some of the work that you'll see here in just a moment. So obviously everything that we do is based in our CBAS work with John Tanner, our community-based accountability system. And there are many, many initiatives that we work towards implementing in our district. And the PLC framework and learning cycles that we're going to talk about is just one of those pieces of the puzzle that really are helping us honor all the ways that our students are smart and ensure high academic achievement and readiness, which are elevated as some of our pillars for all of our students. So this plan is really focused on backwards design. So all of the teachers at Lincoln Middle School work in PLCs or professional learning communities, and they all operate on, you'll hear in the video, Mr. Gondar calls it a system. It's like a machine. So we have 3 to 4 weeks of dedicated and intentional focused planning and delivery of instruction. Our teachers are collecting at least one piece of common evidence every week for every student, and we're engaging in data-driven instruction meetings every Friday. And then they're also giving common formative assessments, which the teachers are creating in their PLCs based on the needs of their students at Lincoln Middle School. And then something that was really important to us is we've built in 1 week in each of these learning cycles where our teachers are dedicating time to reteaching concepts that were not mastered by students or providing enrichment opportunities for our students who already mastered those concepts, which we know is very important. These are the specific PLCs that the students, or the teachers, work through. And so it's kind of funny, but if you were to ask probably any of those teachers who stood up what PLC they worked on today, they would say a number, and I would know exactly what that means, Mr. Gondar, Ms. Guerrero. And so all of our work is extremely focused and extremely intentional. When we began working with Mr. Gondar and Ms. Guerrero last year, it was in October when we really started digging deeply into this work. We wanted to honor the students of Lincoln Middle School by truly showing them that their teachers will be intentional and focused and do everything they need to meet their learning needs. So I'm going to ask Mr. Gondar to share just a little bit of his why and why he believes so strongly in the students at Lincoln Middle School and how this work has really gotten us there. And then we have an amazing video to show you as well. So I'll step away.
Good evening, members of the board. Dr. Detloff, I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate just the spotlight that Lincoln is getting tonight and has been getting here lately. It seems like, I send a newsletter to my staff every week, and it seems like here lately it's been a spotlight of something. We've been doing great at something. But I wanted to share, my why as to why I lead and how I lead and what's really the backbone to the academic side of things. And for me, it really starts from my upbringing. Just things growing up, growing up in the barrio. I'm a barrio kid. And, sometimes that may be labeled as growing up from the wrong side of the tracks. And, everybody sees that differently. But for me, it started really, all my life I knew I wanted to be a teacher. But whenever I was 15 years old, I found out that I was going to be a dad. And, I was a kid. So, just from my background, my dad has an 8th grade education, mom 7th grade education, went to segregated schools, and they just learned enough to read and write, and then they went to work. So it was, I didn't want to say it was okay for me to do it, for me to drop out, but they understood my reason why. And I wasn't about to have them raise my kid, and I had to build that responsibility right then and there. So I dropped out. I dropped out of Christmas break, my sophomore year, 1994. And I had been dropped out, oh man, it was October, when my middle school counselor came to my home. I was sitting outside, I still remember it vividly. I was sitting outside on the porch, my son on my lap, and he comes to my home. I had gone all those months without hearing a word from my principal, counselors, teachers from my high school, but he came to see me. And, God really put an angel in my way that day because we had a really good, tough come to Jesus meeting that day, and, he really set the platform for me to go back. And, I told him, yeah, I'm going to go back. We had a good conversation, lots of laughs, lots of tears. And I was working at a grocery store at the time, making big bucks, $4.25 an hour. And so that's what I was doing to make a living. But every day he would come by that grocery store and just tell me, hey, have you gone back to school yet? You come back to school yet? And I finally went, really kind of just to kind of get him off my back. But, it was that first step. It was that first step that I took, because had I not taken that first step, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in right now. And, it took one person. I'm a big believer, and by experience, that it just takes one person to change a life. And because that one person, Mr. Ben Solis, changed my life and to where I'm at right now. And, as a leader, as a principal, at my time at Carver and currently, at Lincoln, that was my why. I wanted, to provide that leadership, but it's not something that I could do on my own. I knew that I needed to surround myself with adults like the ones that are here right now, who love kids and who want to make a difference in their life. And that's what I look for. And when I look at my staff and I look at my leadership team and just everybody in general, we share that same vision, that same want of making an impact in our kids. When I ended up at Lincoln, I saw myself in a bunch of my kids. I saw myself in that culture. I saw myself in the stereotype that the North Side gets. And I looked at it as a great challenge. And it's been great so far. But, the reason behind the why, when we look at these PLC cycles and just SAISD, our curriculum and instruction team has been just fantastic in helping us implement this. This is a great, great system that we have in play, but it's nothing without the relationships that the teachers make in the kids. And with my staff, each and every one of them shares that same love, shares that same vision. And that was a tone that was really set when I first started with them is, I don't know what Lincoln was or what used to happen here, but, we're going to love kids together. We're going to make this change together. We're going to change things around. And that's one promise that I made to Dr. Detloff when he offered me this opportunity, that's what we're going to do. And I wasn't going to settle for anything less. But, it takes a whole team. Dr. Detloff and company, they do a great job of supporting us. But, as the principal, this is my vision. But at the same time, my whole staff has to share that vision with me. It can't just be something written on the wall, or it can't just be something that's in our stationery. It's something that we have to live and breathe. And that's what we're doing right now. We're living and breathing. We're at Capturing Kids' Hearts campus as well. And one of the quotes that sticks out to me is, if you have a kid's heart, you have their mind. And that's just totally true, because you can be the best teacher in the world, have the most knowledge, but if you cannot build a relationship with a kid, then what does that matter? And to me, that is the most important piece in when I'm hiring and bringing staff onto Lincoln is, can you love kids with me? But also, can you deliver that instruction as well? Because as the principal, every time I talk to parents, it's my responsibility, it's my duty to make sure that the kids are getting a quality education and that they're in a safe school. And that's just something I pride myself on that. But, at the same time, it's a shared vision that I have with my leadership team and my teachers. But you know, it's, as far as with this work with the PLCs, I mean, it's a non-negotiable. I mean, because to me, if my staff shares that same vision, I mean, we're going to do everything they're going to do everything they can to make sure that the kids, A, are feeling loved and appreciated, and that they're delivering that instruction. So that is the purpose behind my why as a leader at Lincoln Middle School.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Gandar. Look, he's running away. No, you're fine. I was kidding. We're going to show this video, and then we'll give you all an opportunity to ask questions.
The learning cycles have really made a huge impact here at Lincoln Middle School. Last year we were in a great opportunity to implement it for the first time, mainly because we are an IR school and we needed to be very data driven, and we were in that opportunity to implement it with the help of the CNI team coming together. They were able to put together this learning cycle, and it was, we saw immediate results. Coming into this school year, we're definitely seeing the results. From the teacher standpoint, you know, it brings a lot of organization to our PLCs. It brings a lot of accountability to our PLCs, and it brings a lot of structure. And it's really made a big impact. And it's brought a lot of confidence in a lot of our teachers. It's a great system. When we have new teachers coming in, like we did this year, mixing them in there with a veteran teacher from last year, it's a huge help for them, because as a new teacher, teaching is tough. But as they come into a system like this, it really helps them get into the swing of things and really do what they're needing to do, as far as from building the relationships with the kids, but also delivering the quality instruction. And we're seeing it on the students' end as well, whether it's from grades, whether it's from map data, whether it's just from the cycle itself, as they're finding the gaps of where the kids are at and filling those gaps. To me, that's just what true PLC should look like. And as a school, whether you're an IR or not, and that's what we should be doing, is figuring out where our kids do have those gaps, and what can we do as a school to fill those gaps. And we've really been seeing that in our kids over the last 2 years, and just seeing that confidence being built with our kids.
This work has impacted our students because we are intentional about everything. We've set high standards. We expect greatness not only from our students, but from our teachers as well, and I believe culture is everything. The proof is in the pudding. We've definitely seen a lot of growth.
This year, the communication's a lot more cohesive. We're all on the same page, and it's reflecting in things like our test scores. We're all within percentage points of each other. It's really cool having these people who are on your team, who want the kids to succeed. It's almost like we're all just teaching one big class.
The work we're doing at Lincoln with the PLC process has impacted me by better preparing me to provide my students with the support they need in the curriculum. We test and gather data off of the tests so I can find out what each particular student is lacking, and then turn around and reteach based on exactly what the needs are for each student.
I like to think of the PLC cycle as a ripple effect. So it starts with district and campus administration. It then goes to instructional coaches, where we push the work with teachers, and teachers take the work and push it with students. From the PLC cycle, we have seen tremendous growth on our campus here at Lincoln. We love students, we push them to do their best, and if we continue to do that, we will be unstoppable.
The students know that what we're doing is focused and intentional. We've seen that the students are more confident. They ask those questions that are needed so that we can address their needs. They see that what we're doing is because we care about them. When we go back with the data that we take from tests, assignments, lessons, exemplars, we use that data to determine what needs to be different, what needs to be changed, so that we can make sure that we're hitting every single student. And if that means pulling small groups, if that means whole group instruction, if that means individual instruction, the students know that what we're doing is for them.
This gives us the opportunity to really examine the kind of things that we're doing and what we're teaching so that the kids have a better opportunity to be successful. And I've seen teachers get an opportunity to grow. When you have the opportunity to actually sit down with other teachers and really examine it as a whole, as a group, I think it's very powerful. Without it, I think we're going in the wrong direction.
Overall, you can see as you walk down the hallways that students realize the reason they are on campus, that they are here to learn, and that the teachers genuinely have interest in seeing that they are being successful. And you can just see the overall pride that students now have in sitting in classrooms where the instruction is very intentional and student growth is almost demanded by the teachers.
The work that we're doing here at Lincoln with the PLC process has impacted me as an assistant principal by really giving me opportunities to grow as an instructional leader. I've really enjoyed being able to go in and be a part of the team, looking at data and seeing where our students are having success and where our teachers are growing. Teachers are learning from one another. We're learning from the data that we're gathering. They're seeing things that are impacting our students. They're seeing that direct growth from the work that they're putting in place.
To me, the biggest change is being able to work alongside the teachers, being able to see their thinking process and actually seeing the growth. You know, you can see the kids working and growing.
For me, it's made me really focus on the true meat of our work, which is our students and their learning. APs, a lot of times we have to work with discipline, of course we do, but our bigger job is to help students learn the best by helping our teachers teach the best. And that all leads back to what our TEKs say, what are those expectations, and how do we hold high standards for all stakeholders. The way I used to be an assistant principal was discipline, discipline, discipline. And now it's engagement, engagement, engagement. The more the students are engaged, the more we're bringing vibrant lessons to them, the less discipline, the higher the learning. And that's what it's all about.
Students are getting more high-quality instruction from the teachers. Teachers are also meeting the needs of the students by analyzing data and looking at the gaps that need to be covered. And then for the students that are able to master those TEKs, they're able to provide enrichment. As a principal, I feel like I've grown as an instructional leader. Our students are more engaged in our lessons. We're seeing less misbehavior in the classrooms, and we're seeing that positive reinforcement.
Going into year 2, this has been part of our culture. As teachers come in, that's what we tell them. You know, this is how we do it here at Lincoln, and it's been a huge part of what we do, and the expectations are really huge. From an administrator side, as the principal, it's been great. What's been great about it is everybody in my leadership team, you know, from my assistant principals to my ICs, I mean, each one of them can go into a PLC and lead a PLC. So basically, I may be the principal of this campus, but each one of them is leading and showing their leadership skills as well. Overall, it's just made a huge impact, and when I look at the overall bird's eye view of what's going on in our campus, I can't say I'm not satisfied. I am very satisfied. We've had nothing but support from administration and from the CNI team. I can only see ourselves getting better with this continuation. Just with the cycle overall, I'm a systems person, and it's a system, and when it's done the right way, it's like a machine. And that's an important part in what we're doing, and it's making a huge impact on our kids and with our teachers, but it starts at the top. We're doing everything we can to lead that process. With us doing that, it provides great support for our teachers, which provides great support for our students. It's been a huge piece of our puzzle in not only getting us out of IR in the future, but just continuing in marketing who we are and just providing quality instruction and building strong relationships with our kids.
And remember, every day you choose to get better or worse, but you never stay the same. Choose to be great. Have a great day, Lincoln.
Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Do you have any questions or anything that you need clarification on?
Just a big thank you for all Principal Gendar and your staff. And I hear stories of what teachers have to deal with every day on a daily basis. And y'all are doing a wonderful job. You are. And y'all have had stuff happen there, and y'all have gone through it, and y'all have done wonderful. And all I can wish you is the best of luck on all this, because I know y'all are doing a great job. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Also, would I echo that, Dr. Callis and Mr. Gandar and your whole Lincoln leadership team. It's all I'm hearing is good things this year. And as you've already mentioned, that's not been what we've been hearing in the past. So it's good to see Lincoln with that spotlight on it, and your STEM team and everything that's going there. I'm glad good things are happening there on the north side. So keep it up.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much for your time this evening. And I do say this, if you're ever having a bad day, you should go to Lincoln Middle School, because it will make you smile in an instant.
And that is, I see also some members of our CNI team here as well, but I just can't say enough about the hard work of all of you, teachers and administrators and our team. So we're so appreciative of that, and look forward to more reports where we can highlight the great things going on at Lincoln. So thank you all also for your support. We couldn't do it without the support of this board. Thank you. I think I'm actually up next on the agenda as well.
Yes, and Shelley Hullihan, we need to mention, has had a death in her family, and she would be presenting some of these that you're helping with. So go ahead, Dr. Ritter, if you're going to talk about the report on District of Innovation.
Yes, thank you. And so on January 2017, the San Angelo Board of Trustees appointed a committee to develop a local District of Innovation plan in accordance with HB 1842. The District of Innovation allows local schools greater control and decision-making over the educational and instructional models for students. It provides increased freedom and flexibility to state mandates that govern educational programming and empowers a district to be innovative. Our 5-year plan is ending, and our next steps in the process will be taking the current District of Innovation plan to our advisory council, which will a focus group in our advisory council, which will be serving as the committee to consider the district innovation proposal. That group will review, recommend, and approve a plan to present to the Board of Trustees. And so I'm just going to briefly kind of go over some of the areas that were in our current District of Innovation plan. Teacher certification for those areas that are very difficult to fill, areas in our CTE courses. It allows us some flexibility in being able to hire some teachers who are absolutely wonderful in our group, in our teacher staff, and are able to provide specific instruction to students in some very complicated and specific areas for career and technical education. Some things with probationary contracts and allowing us to extend probationary contracts, allowing us to start school when we feel is best for this district, not just based on when the state has told us that the district would not begin instruction for students for a school year before the 4th Monday in August. We like to start earlier than that and start with our professional learning calendar as well. Some flexibility in how we are able to deal with transfer of a student, that if there are issues with an out-of-district transfer student who's in our district, that if the need arises, that we seek to allow all students to follow district transfer requirements. And also class size. At times, if we need to enroll different size classroom than 22 to 1 in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th on just a basis when there may be different situations in a district. We don't do that unless it is absolutely necessary, but it allows us that in those instances when it's maybe difficult to hire another teacher in those areas, and it allows us time to be able to hire a teacher in those areas. So we'll be considering these areas as well as looking at using our campus-based accountability system to help with our district improvement plans and our campus improvement plans. And John Tanner is also helping us with recommending some ways for us to do that. Our campus principals were very excited in hearing that we were going to be talking about that. So once we've determined what our District of Innovation plan will be for the next 5 years, we'll bring that forward to you for your approval. So we just wanted you to know that we were working on that now because most districts are going through that right now in the state. Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ritter, for that. Dr. Detloff, update on our COVID protocols.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Parker and board. I'd like to really start off with just, again, extending our gratefulness to all of our families. We are so appreciative of our families, our classroom teachers, our administrators, and the campuses for adhering to safety protocols that allow us to keep the doors of the classroom open this year. I also want to thank our Board of Trustees for allowing San Angelo ISD to be one of the first districts in the state to start on time in a global pandemic, and we have kept that going with a 99% accuracy rate among our staff and students. So again, I just want to thank our Board of Trustees for providing the expectation and the momentum for us to do that, where things like you heard this evening, the academic growth can take place at our campuses like Lincoln Middle School and across the district because we were in school on time. So we're very appreciative of that. I wanted to provide a COVID update and really kind of our response update. Every Friday morning, I participate in a Region 15 superintendent phone call along with 44 other school superintendents across our region. Also, Monday mornings, I participate in a city leadership phone call coupled with Shannon Medical Center along with our local CDC to talk about transmission rates, positivity, hospitalizations, and how we're trending as an entire community. So those are weekly events that we are so grateful that we are permitted to participate in and be a big partner in. With that information, whether it's in the classroom or dealing with a global pandemic, we like to believe that we are evidence informed. So we're going to base our decisions on evidence as we move forward as a school district. Based on the evidence, through these city official CDC phone calls, through our positivity rates, which are trending and tracking really well in San Angelo ISD that are parallel to our community. Starting June 1st, and I believe we may have a slide for our audience members. Starting June 1st, 2021, after the completion of the 2021 school year, San Angelo ISD will transition to a mask are appreciated, not required protocol for the summer and beginning the 21-22 school year. Obviously, as I mentioned, we will continue to monitor and base our information on current conditions in our local communities. With that, we will also tighten up our protocols, our safety protocols, if needed. Right now, we are trending well with the evidence that is in front of us from a medical standpoint and from a community tracking standpoint. So effective June 1st, we will transition to mask are appreciated, not required. In part of our partnerships, if we lined up everybody in this room and across our community, there are many differing viewpoints on mask protocol. Here's the root cause for the guidelines that SAISD has implemented for mask protocol. The CDC is still quarantining students and staff members. I believe it is my chief responsibility, along with our Board of Trustees, to keep the doors of the classroom open for learning. To do that, we need kids in school. So whether we have agree or disagree with mask protocol, masks are allowing us to stay in school so that our students are not quarantined or our staff members are not quarantined. On the superintendent phone call that I participate in, we heard the great one-act play that Lakeview had that was mentioned as a highlight this morning. On a previous superintendent phone call, one of the neighboring superintendents said they had a one-act play going to state, and they were allowed to continue because during the tracing and the tracking, the students in that one-act play were wearing masks. So I can assure you there are many layers of mask fatigue, and I have that fatigue as well. But we're excited to buckle down for 6 more weeks, and starting June 1st, mask will be appreciated but not required in SAISD and our facilities. So we look forward to the upcoming school year. Again, we will continue to meet weekly and adjust our safety protocols if needed. So thank you to our board, thank you to our staff and any remaining Lincoln staff here. Thank you for all the work that you've done this year as well. So that concludes my report, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Dr. Letboff. That's good news. Now, do you have you or anyone else have any report on the partnership with Goodfellow? I think that's on every one of our agendas, but I don't know if there's a report tonight.
Let's see. I may need a little assistance maybe from one of our communications department, but this, let's see if I can do this without looking at my calendar. I believe this Thursday, 8:30 or 9 a.m., we have military appreciation honoring military children. It's going to be in partnership with Angelo State University. It is also in partnership with local school districts, not just San Angelo ISD. I know General Hawkins will be providing, President Hawkins will be providing a keynote, and I'll have some opening remarks as well. And I will turn it over to this side of the room because Teresa or Whitney or Molly or others may have additional information to share. And you may edit my remarks if I got any of the times or dates wrong.
You got to get on the microphone. We're on television.
You did. Thank you, Dr. Detloff, members of the board. So on the 22nd, this Thursday, at the Region 15 Education Service Center, we will be hosting an education summit. It'll be the first ever here in San Angelo of its kind. And the goal is to really highlight the phenomenal partnership that we have with SAISD, highlight the amazing partnership that we have with our community, and really bring together and get faculty, students, counselors, the community involved in lifting up our students, not just our military students, but all students within SAISD and the Region 15.
For our guests that are watching this on TV, would you tell us who you are?
I'm Teresa Goodwin. I'm the school liaison for Goodfellow Air Force Base. I've been here since 2016 and really have worked hard, and have to thank the SAISD communications team because they've really brought to light this past year what I've been striving to do the whole time I've been here. So thank you, Whitney, Molly, Jack. You guys have been amazing.
Thank you, Teresa.
And board, just Goodfellow continues to be an incredible partner for us. I've mentioned before, during our recent crisis, whether that's water or a virus, Colonel Nazario, the base commander, probably contacts me weekly just to provide a check-in. So we just are so appreciative of our partnership with Goodfellow Air Force Base. And Teresa, thank you for cleaning up my remarks. You saved me.
All right. I think Dr. Detloff, you have a report on required hours of continuing education for the school board?
Yes, sir. Let me look that up. I believe Mrs. Holohan asked me to do this. Again, at our last regular Board of Trustees meeting, every year, kind of as part of an election process, our current board president announces the name of each board member who has completed the required hours of continuing ed and who has exceeded the required hours of continuing ed. So I believe those numbers may be mentioned in your packet. on page 27 in your packet. So I do want to highlight that, and Becky, you can help me if needed on this. I do want to highlight that all of our board members have received the required numbers of trainings. And so we look forward to continuing the leadership of our board, and we continue to strive together as a team of 8 to look at continuing ed hours and best practices in the field of education and governance. So thank you for your work there. Becky, do you need to add anything to that?
All right, you through? Okay, thank you. All right, our next agenda item is our consent items. We have consent items A through F, items that we discussed at our pre-agenda meeting and placed on our consent items. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve consent items A through F, and then you're going to go over what those are.
I'll second.
Okay. We've got a motion by Dr. Kingman and a second by Mr. Gallegos. Consent item A is consider donations. We always appreciate our donations. B is consider depository contract for our accounts, or our finance accounts from September 1, 2021 to August 31, 2023. We have 2 members of First Financial Bank here that have been waiting patiently that didn't know for sure this was on the consent item, but and that is Chris Evett, who's the chairman, president, and CEO of First Financial. Would you stand up, Chris? And then Scott Creechy's also with him. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for being with us, and we're happy that we'll be using First Financial for our depository this year. Item C is consider approval of presiding judges and alternates for election on May 1st, 2021. Item D, consider bid number 20-014 curriculum and instruction materials. Item E is consider superintendent's recommendations for personnel 2021. And item F is consider superintendent's recommendations for 2021, 2022 teacher and other professional contracts. Is there any other board discussion on these items? Is there any public comment on any of these items? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say the same. Item passes. Next item agenda is consider bills, accounts, and financial statements for March 2021.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Dindal and a second by Dr. Kingman. Any other board discussion on this? Any public comment on this? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say the same. Motion passes. Item 10 is considered missed school days waiver. Wes Underwood is going to speak on this.
As you mentioned earlier, Shelley was not able to be here tonight, so I'm happy to do that on her behalf. Mr. Parker, Board of Trustees, Dr. Detloff, you have before you a recommendation for missed school day waiver. As you know, districts can request a waiver for excused absences if instructional days are missed due to inclement weather, health, safety-related, or other issues. The first 2 days that we missed this year must be made, the days must be made up, and we missed 2 days in October 27th and January 11th. However, any additional days beyond that, we did have some minutes built into our calendar to account for the first 2 and some moving beyond. We didn't have to make up those first 2, but we do have to supply a waiver to TEA for the requesting waivers for February 9th, 10th, 11th, which we had due to citywide water contamination, and then February 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th due to historic weather conditions. The administration is recommending that these waivers for missed school days be approved as presented.
Thank you. Any board questions on this? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Dr. Kingman, a second by Mr. Dindal. For the school day waivers has been outlined by Mr. Underwood. Is there any other board discussion on this?
The only thing I'll say is we talked about it at our pre-agenda last week, but our in-house maintenance team did an amazing job getting us back in school after especially after the historic cold making sure that we had campuses open, portable bathrooms available, et cetera, so that we could actually run school and not have more days that we were applying for a waiver.
Weren't we told there were 700 classrooms that were affected, something like that, that they took care of? So it was an amazing number.
Great job.
And I thank you for reminding us that, Dr. Kingman. All right, we've had a motion. Is there any, and no other board discussion, any public comment on this item? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say the same. Motion passes. All right, Mr. Underwood, you're up again. Consider COVID-related waiver for CPR instruction waiver.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Students must receive the required CPR instruction at least once between 7th grade and 12th grade by the time they graduate high school. If a senior has not received that required instruction in CPR, a school district may request a waiver of the requirement from the commissioner. Due to the COVID pandemic, all seniors have not participated in that required CPR training this year, and as a result, the administration is recommending that the waiver for the CPR requirement be waived and supplied to TEA.
Thank you. Anyone have questions for Mr. Underwood? Again, this was something that we discussed last week. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Do it, everyone.
Second. All right. Thank you, Dr. Kingman. It's made a motion to approve, and Dr. Daniel has seconded it. Any other board comment on this issue? Any public comment on this agenda item? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say the same. The motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Underwood. That concludes our regular agenda items. We have some announcements. We have a finance pre-agenda workshop on May 10th. We have a regular board meeting on May 17th. Our PAYS graduation is May 27th at the McNeese Convention Center. We have live graduations this year where we're actually going to have persons present, and that's the Central High School graduation May 29th at 9 a.m. at the San Angelo Stadium. And the Lakeview High School graduation is May 29th at 9 a.m. at the Lakeview Stadium. We need to go into closed session. I don't even know if I told Dr. Detloff this, but to go into closed session for just about 5 minutes on a personnel issue, Mr. Gallegos. And if we can do that, we'll come back, and at this moment we're in recess. All right, we're back in session. We've been in executive session, and we took no action. We took no votes. And absent any objection, I will now adjourn our meeting. Thank you for being here.